Lara, what impact do you think all this is going to have inside the courtroom?
Let me first start by saying this judge is my hero. As a defense attorney, as a criminal defense attorney, the one thing that really, really bothers me in court is when the complaining witnesses or the decedents in this case, people who are deceased, are called the victims. Well, the jury decides at the end who is the victim and who's truly going to be convicted in this case. There is such a thing as presumption of innocence in our Constitution and in our criminal justice system, and I just love him for standing up for that and making it very clear that you can't call these people the victims until the jury makes that decision. What is the impact? I think it's great if the prosecution, even by mistake, accidentally, they say, the victims, the judge is going to correct them, and every time the judge corrects them, it's a great point for the defense because the judge is going to remind that jury that you cannot call him a victim, at least not yet, until or unless you find this defendant guilty. So I think it's great for the defense. I'm loving it.
Now, you know, journalistically, when we talk about it, we have the same sort of debate, but they are victims of a shooting at a minimum, Sarah, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Respectfully, I completely disagree with Laura. I think what this judge did is, inappropriate. We have two deceased human beings, human spirits. And to remove the word victim, I think sets a tone of protecting the perpetrator, protecting the alleged perpetrator, I shall say. And, that makes a big statement to the jury in and of itself. So respectfully, I disagree. I think the word victim, when you have two deceased human spirits, must be used and can be used. And again, it does rest with the jury, but I think jurors understand these people are dead. They were victims of a shooting, and it is only appropriate to call them that.
Obviously, I really, really don't agree with you in this case. These are people who are deceased. There's nothing here that says they are the victims. In fact, they may be the aggressors, and that's for the jury to decide. For us to say it's unfair, it's wrong, that's not correct. This judge is within his rights to say, call them the deceased, call them something else other than the victim. It is for the jury, not for the prosecution, not for some lawyer who represents these two individuals or three individuals to get up and say these are the victims. That is again for the jury to decide, and there's nothing wrong with what this judge did here.
And again, I wholeheartedly disagree, coming from, not a defense background, coming from a very pro-plaintiff background. This judge made a lot of other statements in his message to the prosecutor, including withholding information from a prosecutor. This judge showed his true colors. I'm unimpressed, and I think he is putting something in the jurors' minds that doesn't need to be there.
Well, easy for us to say that when anytime that a judge makes some pro-defense rulings, we end up saying, oh, see, he's biased. That's not necessarily true. He's following the Constitution. He's upholding the laws. Defendants are part of the people. They do have rights, constitutional rights, and what this judge is doing is exactly that, upholding those rights.
Again, he showed his true colors. That entire hearing was pro-defendant, and so I disagree with you respectfully. I think going into this, let's call it what it is. Two people were shot. It's all there on video. And yes, does the defendant have the right to due process? Absolutely. To a fair jury trial? Absolutely. But when you're shot and killed, you are a victim of a shooting.
Okay, now you mentioned